stop for a moment. Not tomorrow. Not after you finish this video. Stop right now and ask yourself one uncomfortable question. Are you about to make a life-altering decision because of love or because of fear? Because if you are a woman over 60, standing at the edge of remarriage, society will cheer for you. Friends will smile politely. Some will say, "You deserve happiness." But almost no one will dare to tell you what this choice may quietly cost you. Your peace, your autonomy, your final chapter of freedom. This is not a message meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you up. Not gently, not sentimentally, but honestly. After decades of giving, enduring, nurturing, and surviving, you are finally standing in a season that belongs to you. And yet, this is exactly the season where many intelligent, yet emotionally rich women walk into a trap they never saw coming. Because it doesn't look like a trap. It looks like companionship. It looks like security. It looks like someone to sit beside you in the quiet evenings. But beneath that comforting image often lies a reality no one prepares you for. I've spent years listening to the private confessions of women in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Women who thought they were choosing love, only to realize too late that they had traded something priceless for something fragile. Again and again, the pattern repeats itself. And once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. One of the first illusions that collapses after remarriage in later life is the idea of equal partnership. When people marry young, they grow together. They build systems together. Their bodies age side by side. But when marriage happens after 60, the balance is already tilted. Health histories are longer. Energy levels are different. Needs are asymmetrical. And without anyone saying it out loud, marriage quietly turns into a contract of care. Many men, consciously or unconsciously, seek marriage later in life because they are looking for someone to stabilize their world, someone to manage appointments, medications, meals, routines, and emotional regulation. Many women, on the other hand, arrive at this stage after decades of caregiving. Children, parents, partners, households. This phase was supposed to be the exhale, the long-awaited rest. I once listened to a woman in her mid-60s describe how quickly her dream unraveled. She had been active, socially engaged, planning trips she had postponed for years. 6 months after remarriage, her life revolved around medical schedules and dietary restrictions that were never hers to begin with. She said something that still echoes in my mind. "I thought I was choosing love, but I feel like I signed a contract for a job I never applied for." Not because her husband was cruel, not because he intended harm, but because marriage locked her into a role she had already fulfilled once before. When you remain in a committed relationship without the legal binding of marriage, expectations stay flexible. Boundaries remain negotiable. But marriage hardens roles. It removes exit doors. And at this stage of life, that rigidity can quietly drain your remaining vitality. And even if health never becomes an issue, there is another loss that creeps in more subtly, yet cuts just as deep. The loss of your personal sanctuary. By 60, you are no longer experimenting with life. You have designed it. You know the rhythm of your mornings, the silence you need, the way your home holds your nervous system together. Your space is no longer just shelter. It is psychological safety. Remarriage is not just about sharing affection. It is about merging habits that have been reinforced for 6 decades. Sounds trivial until it's your peace being negotiated away. The volume of the television, the way the kitchen functions, the objects you've chosen because they tell the story of your life. Slowly, Without dramatic conflict, your home can begin to feel unfamiliar. One woman described it perfectly when she said, "I didn't lose my house. I lost my sense of belonging inside it." And the psychological toll of that loss is immense. Studies consistently show that for older women, a loss of control over daily environment correlates strongly with anxiety and depressive symptoms. Your home, at this stage, is not meant to be compromised lightly. It is your fortress. Lowering the drawbridge should never be automatic just because love knocked. Then there is the tension no one wants to discuss openly, the emotional earthquake that remarriage can trigger within your family. Adult children may smile, nod, and say they are happy for you. But beneath the surface, fear often brews. Fear of displacement, fear of loss, fear that what they once believed was secure, emotionally or financially, now feels threatened. Even with legal protections in place, emotions do not follow contracts. Loyalty becomes divided. Holidays become tense. Conversations grow cautious. Or you may find yourself defending your partner to your children and defending your children to your partner, trapped in the middle of a conflict you never intended to create. And the price of that constant emotional mediation is high. Stress, guilt, distance, sometimes irreversible fractures. Many women only realize too late that preserving harmony within their lineage mattered more to them than formalizing a romantic bond. The joy of motherhood and grandmotherhood, once effortless, becomes layered with unspoken tension. Love multiplies. Yes, but so does complexity. Yet perhaps the most profound loss happens quietly, inside you. Carl Jung spoke of a stage later in life called individuation, the process of becoming fully oneself after shedding roles imposed by society. For many women over 60, this is the first time in their lives when they are not defined primarily as someone's wife or someone's mother. It is a sacred window of self-discovery. Marriage, by its very nature, shifts focus back to we. Even in healthy relationships, compromise becomes constant. Decisions become shared. Desires are filtered. And for women who are finally touching parts of themselves, long buried, creativity, solitude, spiritual curiosity, this shift can subtly suffocate growth. I've seen women bloom after loss, only to slowly dim again after remarriage. Not because their partner was wrong, but because timing was. They were just beginning to meet themselves when fear of loneliness pulled them back into familiarity. And familiarity, when chosen out of fear, often becomes a cage. This stage of life is not about shrinking yourself to fit beside someone, and it is about expanding into who you truly are. Do not trade your wings for the comfort of company if that company requires you to stop flying. And yet, all of this still isn't the most dangerous illusion, because the most seductive lie comes wrapped in kindness and reassurance, the belief that being with someone is always better than being alone. Society reinforces it relentlessly. Friends repeat it. Culture rewards it. But lived experience tells a different story. The only thing more painful than solitude is sharing a life with someone who leaves you feeling unseen, unheard, and emotionally alone. And later life marriages carry heavier emotional baggage than most people acknowledge. Unhealed wounds, fixed patterns, financial secrecy, emotional rigidity. The stakes are higher, and the margin for error is thinner. And many women discover this not months, but weeks into remarriage. They don't feel less lonely. They feel more trapped. The silence they once controlled becomes a silence imposed on them, and the anxiety of having no easy exit replaces the peace they once had. Loneliness is not cured by marriage. It is cured by connection, and connection does not require legal surrender. This is where we pause. for now. Because the final truth, the one almost no one expects, is still ahead. And it is the reason most women say, in hindsight, if only someone had told me sooner. There is one illusion that survives every warning, every statistic, every quiet voice of intuition. It whispers gently, almost kindly. At least it's better than being alone. This belief is so deeply embedded in our collective consciousness that many women never question it. They assume solitude is failure, and partnership, any partnership, is proof of success. But after 60, this illusion becomes the most dangerous of all, because it convinces you to tolerate what your younger self would have walked away from. I have heard the same sentence spoken in countless variations. I didn't need perfection. I just didn't want to eat dinner alone. That single desire to avoid emptiness has led many women into unions that slowly erode their nervous systems. They enter marriage expecting relief, only to discover a new kind of loneliness. I am one layered with anxiety, obligation, and regret. Second and third marriages statistically fail more often than first ones, not because people are incapable of love, but because they carry more history, more defenses, more rigid habits, less flexibility. When problems arise, they are rarely dramatic. They are quiet, subtle, emotional distance disguised as normalcy, financial secrecy framed as privacy, criticism softened into concern. And because you are older, because you value peace, you tell yourself it's not worth addressing until it becomes inescapable. One woman said something that still feels painfully precise. Before, I was lonely but peaceful. Now I'm lonely and trapped. That is the cost of the illusion of better. Marriage did not save her from solitude. It simply took away her autonomy while leaving the emptiness intact. Here is the truth society avoids telling older women. Marriage is not the pinnacle of emotional fulfillment. Freedom is. Alignment is. Safety within yourself is. And once you understand this, an entirely different vision of love becomes possible. One that does not require sacrifice of your identity, assets, or peace. The healthiest women I know in their later years are not isolated. They are deeply connected, but on their own terms. They date, they love, they experience intimacy, but they keep their own keys, their own bank accounts, their own space. A man in their lives is an addition, not the foundation. And that distinction changes everything. There is profound psychological power in knowing you can leave without catastrophe, in knowing your home will remain yours, your routines intact, your future unentangled. This sense of inner security allows love to be chosen freely, not clung to desperately. And paradoxically, it often attracts healthier partners, those who are not seeking rescue, management, or replacement, but genuine companionship. Living apart together. Long-term partnership without legal merging. Companionship without cohabitation. These arrangements are not signs of emotional avoidance. They are signs of evolved self-respect. They allow intimacy to flourish without suffocation. They preserve mystery, autonomy, and dignity, qualities that keep love alive far longer than obligation ever could. At this stage of life, your worth is not measured by who claims you. It is measured by how deeply you honor yourself. You have earned the right to be selective, to be spacious, to say no without guilt, to protect what you spent decades building, your resilience, your wisdom, your inner quiet. Take a moment now. Breathe. Feel the space around you, the silence that belongs to you. That space is not emptiness. It is freedom. It is possibility. It is the reward for surviving everything that once demanded too much of you. Do not give that space away out of fear. Fear is a poor architect for a future. Love, when chosen from wholeness, never asks you to disappear. If these words stirred something inside you, if you felt a subtle relief or even resistance, pay attention. That reaction is information. It is your intuition reclaiming its voice after years of being told what you should want. And before we close, there is one more truth that must be spoken. Not every man who enters a woman's life after 60 comes with honest intentions. Either there is a specific type who moves quickly, speaks beautifully, mirrors your longing, and positions himself as your solution. He appears attentive, devoted, even spiritual. But beneath the charm lies urgency, control, dependency. These men sense vulnerability, the way predators sense movement. In the next video, we will expose the red flags of late-life dating that every woman must recognize before it's too late. Signals that are easy to miss, but devastating to ignore. This knowledge is not about fear. It is about clarity. And clarity is protection. If this message resonated with you, let it stay with you. You do not need marriage to be whole. You do not need permission to protect your peace. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where wisdom finally begins. Protect your heart. Protect your freedom. Protect the woman you have become. I'll see you in the next video.